General Rules. GR 1.00 Policy. GR 1.01 Code of Ethics. A. It shall be the responsibility of all officials in sanctioned figure skating events, registered members of member clubs or collegiate clubs and individual members to be thoroughly familiar with the rules of U.S. figure skating, to comply with them in full and to exemplify the highest standards of fairness, ethical behavior and genuine good sportsmanship in any of their relations with others. Those who serve U.S. figure skating must do so without personal gain, must avoid any institutional loss or embarrassment and must behave in a way that enhances U.S. figure skating's trust and public confidence. B. Conflicts of interest. All persons associated with U.S. figure skating, including but not limited to its employees, directors, officers, judges and committee members, are expected to abide by high ethical standards in all dealings relating to the business and affairs of U.S. figure skating. All members and staff should understand that conflicts of interest diminish the integrity and quality of decision-making required by U.S. figure skating and may jeopardize U.S. figure skating's reputation and public support. In order to avoid harm to the goodwill and public image of U.S. figure skating and to better ensure the expected high ethical standards in all dealings, if any person who is an officer, director, judge, member of a committee, employee, paid consultant to or representative of U.S. figure skating, each of these persons shall be referred to as a representative, is aware that U.S. figure skating is about to enter into any business transaction directly or indirectly with any representative, any member of a representative's family or any entity in which a representative has any legal, equitable or fiduciary interest or position, including without limitation as a director, officer, shareholder, partner, employee, beneficiary or trustee, or if a representative is aware that U.S. figure skating is about to enter into any business transaction or take other corporate action in which a representative may be directly or indirectly financially interested or otherwise derive a material personal benefit, the representative shall 1. Immediately inform, in writing, the executive director and president of such representative's involvement, position, interest or benefit with respect thereto. 2. Aid the persons charged with making the decision by disclosing all material facts within such representative's knowledge that bear on the advisability of such transaction or action from the standpoint of U.S. figure skating. 3. Make such other disclosures as are necessary to ensure that U.S. figure skating has received full and fair information regarding the transaction or action and such representative's involvement, position, interest or benefit with respect thereto, and 4. Abstain from voting or influencing the decision to enter into such transaction to the extent the disclosing representative may have an actual or apparent conflict of interest in this matter. A conflict of interest may exist in any instance where a member's actions on behalf of or affecting U.S. figure skating a. Involve obtaining an improper gain or advantage or b. Involve a conflicting or potentially adverse effect on the interest of U.S. figure skating or c. Involve an activity that is not in the best interests of U.S. figure skating, including instances where the members' actions are influenced by another person or organization in a manner adverse to the interests of U.S. figure skating. The requirements of disclosure and abstention shall also apply to a representational conflict of interest as referred to in U.S. figure skating Statement of Principles of Ethical Behavior and Conflict of Interest, as referred to in paragraph E of this GR. 1.01, to include disclosure of whether the member is in a position, by employment, volunteer service, financial support or other affiliation, to control, direct or influence another person or organization the interests of which are related to, affected by, involved with or may conflict with or adversely affect, the interests of U.S. figure skating. See prior to appointment as an officer, member of the board of directors, committee chair, subcommittee chair, paid U.S. figure skating staff, or to any outside organization, the member must execute a conflict of interest and ethical behavior statement without amendment or alteration. The Ethics Committee Chair shall oversee an annual review of the conflict of interest and Ethical behavior statements for continuing appointments and paid staff. D. Private inurement. In agreement with federal law, it is the policy of U.S. figure skating that none of its assets or income may inure to the benefit of any person or organization in satisfaction of a personal or private interest. E. U.S. figure skating has adopted and may amend, from time to time, a statement of principles of ethical behavior and conflict of interest, including a conflict of interest disclosure form. All those who choose to serve U.S. figure skating shall be subject to and must abide by the statement of principles of ethical behavior and conflict of interest, the provisions of which are incorporated into this Code of Ethics. GR 1.02 Code of Conduct. The following Code of Conduct applies to all participants in activities hosted, supported, sponsored or engaged in by U.S. figure skating, including but not limited to competitions, exhibitions and training camps. I recognize that my participation in all activities hosted, supported, sponsored or engaged in by U.S. figure skating, including but not limited to competitions, exhibitions and training camps, is an honor and privilege that carries certain responsibilities. I agree to fully abide by the rules and guidelines set forth by U.S. figure skating or its properly designated agents. As a precondition to participation in activities hosted, supported, sponsored or engaged in by U.S. figure skating, I will adhere to the following tenets in good faith. A. I will exhibit the highest standards of fairness, ethical behavior and genuine good sportsmanship in all of my relations with others. B. I will not discriminate against any member or participant on the basis of race, color, religion, age, gender, gender identity, sexual orientation, national origin, or any other status protected by federal, state or local law, where applicable. C. I will not damage public or private property. I understand that I may be held financially responsible for damage deemed to be wantonly or willfully executed on my part, and that I may be subject to disciplinary action by U.S. figure skating. D. I will not use or possess illegal drugs, and I will not engage in criminal activity. I understand that, if I am found to use or possess illegal drugs, or if I am found to engage in any criminal activity during any activity hosted, supported, sponsored, or engaged in by U.S. figure skating, I may be subject to criminal penalties as well as penalties imposed by U.S. figure skating. E. I will adhere to the rules of U.S. figure skating and the host organization at all activities hosted, supported, sponsored or engaged in by U.S. figure skating. F. I will comply with all applicable anti-doping rules including, but not limited to, ISU anti-doping rules. G. I will conduct myself in a manner not detrimental to the welfare of figure skating. I understand that my actions reflect on U.S. figure skating and the sport of figure skating both positively and negatively. I understand that if my acts, statements, or conduct are considered detrimental to the welfare of figure skating by the appropriate authority, I may be subject to penalties imposed by U.S. figure skating pursuant to GR 1.04. H. I understand that the penalties that may be imposed may include, but are not limited to, loss of future international selections, loss of financial support from U.S. figure skating and its memorial fund, and loss of participation in activities hosted, supported, sponsored or engaged in by U.S. figure skating. I understand that all disciplinary proceedings will be conducted pursuant to Article 25, Section 1, of the U.S. figure skating bylaws, and that my rights and remedies are derived therefrom. GR 1.03 U.S. figure skating will not tolerate or condone any form of harassment, including sexual harassment, misconduct, including sexual, physical and emotional misconduct, bullying or hazing of any of its members including coaches, officials, directors, employees, parents, athletes and volunteers, or any other persons, while they are participating in or preparing for a figure skating activity or event conducted under the auspices of U.S. figure skating. The U.S. figure skating policy statement on harassment and abuse may be found in its entirety online at usfigureskating.org. Harassment of such nature between or among U.S. figure skating members shall be reported to the chair of the Ethics or Grievance Committee as soon as is practicably possible, per Rules ECR 2.00 and GCR 2.00. A. If any form of child abuse is observed or suspected, the observer should immediately contact either local law enforcement or a public child welfare agency and make a report. B. Any person who violates this rule, who fails to appropriately report or who makes a false report or otherwise violates U.S. figure skating's policy on harassment and abuse will be subject to disciplinary action in accordance with Article 25, Section 1, of the U.S. Figure Skating Bylaws. GR 1.04 Any person whose acts, statements or conduct violate the provisions of the preceding general rules or otherwise violate the person's applicable duties and responsibilities to U.S. figure skating or whose acts, statements or conduct are otherwise considered detrimental to the welfare of figure skating is subject to the loss of the privilege of registration by U.S. figure skating in accordance with the procedure outlined in Article 25, Section 1, of the U.S. Figure Skating Bylaws relating to loss of membership privileges, suspension and expulsion. GR 1.05 Jurisdiction. U.S. Figure Skating is a member of the International Skating Union, ISU, an Olympic, Pan-American member of the United States Olympic Committee, USOC, and an allied member of the Amateur Athletic Union of the United States, AAU. U.S. Figure skating is recognized by the ISU, USOC and AAU as the governing body of figure skating on ice in the United States. As such, U.S. figure skating observes the rules of the ISU, including but not limited to the ISU anti-doping rules, and administers its own rules so as to ensure the eligibility of qualified United States skaters and officials to participate in international skating events. In addition, the purpose of the official rules of U.S. figure skating, and in particular those rules relating to eligibility and sanctions, is to protect the eligibility of registered members so as to enable them to fully participate in the benefits of such membership. GR 1.06 Enforcement. Failure by any U.S. figure skating member or representative to enforce any bylaw or rule of U.S. figure skating does not preclude the bylaw or rule from being enforced in the future. GR 2.00 Administration. GR 2.01 Expenses to Board of Directors meetings. Unless such payment is disapproved by the President and the Treasurer, U.S. figure skating will reimburse expenses incurred for transportation, room and meals by members of the Board of Directors, other than honorary members, for attendance at meetings of the Governing Council and the Board of Directors per the current and approved U.S. figure skating travel and expense policy, available online at usfigureskating.org. GR 2.02 Travel expense within the United States. Reimbursement for personal transportation, room and meal expenses actually incurred in connection with an ice show, exhibition, competition, meeting or test will be made in accordance with the current, approved U.S. figure skating travel and expense policy, available online at usfigureskating.org. GR 2.03 Committee Reports. The Secretary shall send to the Secretaries of all member clubs in good standing, copies of the notice for each meeting of the Governing Council, and copies of all published reports submitted to the Governing Council and Board of Directors by the officers and committee chairs of U.S. figure skating. In addition, upon payment of a reasonable duplicating and postage fee, all club presidents may request Board of Directors meeting books and all reports of action. GR 2.04 U.S. Figure Skating Headquarters. U.S. Figure Skating Headquarters shall be a service office to assist the officers and committee chairs in the carrying out of their respective duties. It shall also assist member clubs with respect to all matters of an administrative nature pertaining to their membership in U.S. figure skating. U.S. Figure Skating Headquarters shall maintain the books and records of U.S. figure skating in accordance with established policies and procedures under the supervision of the responsible officers and/or chairs concerned.